Alright. Let us get started. So, Flame Zarya. Okay, the frame should be okay.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective
Let me just real quick switch to full screen so we get to the spot I'm looking for. Alright, so it was a good bubble on initiation. You used yours a little early though. Also,
He sees me go in and he gets a really nice bubble off.
what's your sensitivity?
14.29?
Okay, do you know your DPI?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, do you have the software for your mouse installed on your computer?
That would probably be why I don't know my DPI.
Okay, the main thing that I'm seeing, because if I go back here, what I'm seeing is your... It's very like twitchy, and I'm thinking that yeah, it's very high, and I think if it's like it just looks like it just makes your screen look chaotic. So I think what might help is if you turn down your DPI a bit, or at least turn down your in-game sense, and to a level where all your movements are smooth and very calm, so that it's like your arm might be doing a little bit more work, or wrist, or whatever you're doing, but in general it's a lot easier to see what's going on, and your bubbles, it's going to be a lot easier to land those, and you'll notice that, but you don't have to check it right now. I'm just making sure you kind of have an idea. Good level on the Genji. So you hear, at least I can hear, you hear the hog to your left, or you should be able to hear the hog to your left. So if I zoom out, you should hear this. So the fact that there's a hog just chilling up there, that's kind of unfortunate. You got the Ashe. Ashe should have been paying attention to that. However,
Well,
you know.
to interject, this kind of goes back into the game, is just somebody would go behind and nobody, or people would react, but it would just be too late to react because you'd be smashing them in the front line, and then there'd be a hog, or a hog in a Hanzo. It was a whack game.
I agree, yeah.
Too much into that.
I just think in general it's good if you hear the noise, at least kind of like either be present about it, or at least like call it out to your team. So the fact that you didn't, like, you're not really looking at it, you're just like tunneled on this brig, like you're very tunnel vision right now, and then you kind of like look around and you're like, okay, what's going on? You should at least, you know, obviously I don't know your thought process, but from what I'm seeing, you have to make sure that you're at least like showing, like you got to be aware of everything that's going on around you. So just try to stay, you know, you don't have to be up in the brig's face when you're fighting her, but in general, you know, it was a good push. Bubbles were good. Alright, so yeah, you're pushing up here. You should be with the Rhine. Don't really. I know the cart was like, it's kind of awkward because Ana wasn't there.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I was not pushing up.
But right here, like, your value with your right clicks is a lot less than your left. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's when I like noticed I was probably pushing up.
Yeah. And this is an awkward situation because they're coming from two ends at once. But like right now, you should be going out with me. Like, leave the cart, come with me. We'll just go in, and it kind of gives me a second person to hang out with, so that I have that like little bit of support. And like I get that it's like, oh, there's nobody on the cart, like okay, but at this point when there is somebody else on the cart, leave. And especially if you leave, it sometimes forces people, because like you see how I'm holding back on cart now. So then I'm moving up. You should be moving up. Bubble was a little early there. There's really no threat. So again, just slow reactions. Like, you know, you can see here we're pushing up, but the fact that there's dragons and blades going behind you, and you know you're still focused on the brig during this, you definitely want to be backing up here, because your team's gonna die behind you. And like, this is good that you're at least backing up now, but yeah, it's good to stay back, to know like immediately I know how to back up. And this is a lost fight, so it's like, just die, it's fine. There you go. Don't even die. Awesome. But also just keep in mind, you know, you've had your ult this whole time, and as a Zarya, a lot of times it's tempting to get that like 6-man grab or 4-man or whatever. But even getting like just the tanks is perfectly worth it too. Just an unfortunate hook. And then I think you grabbed over. No, you didn't even. This would have been a perfect spot to grab, actually.
Oh yeah, I was right about to, and then the Hog hooked me.
Okay, yeah. Even if you're not even like up in there, like as soon as you're in this little spot here, you throw the grab, it splits them, and then we push up. But yeah. It's just good because if you refresh your grabs, it just makes you even more valuable. So. Alright. So again, pushing up. So this is another perfect time to grab. Like, right there would be beautiful. This was fine. But,
Yeah,
again...
I was totally waiting for the 6-man grab, I can't even lie.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing with Zarya. You really want that huge grab, but just remember, grabbing both supports, even grabbing just a Valkyrie Mercy or something, like, grabbing, like... key targets that can help win a team fight. That's what's important. So if if you're making sure that you're aware, and again I'll back it up. So right over here, like going over this cart and grabbing these two, the Brig and the Sigma. That's a huge grab, or at least grabbing grabbing them together. Because keep in mind where you are, you got a Hog and a Genji behind you, and a Sigma in front of you. So ideally, and let's see if this is where the pen tool should work. So I can't open it. Hold on. There we go. So,
holy shit.
This is frustrating. Alright, let's try this. Alright, so, oh no, it's just wigging out on me. There we go. So, you're here. The Ryan's here, so ideally.
I can't see you drawing.
Because you have to see it on this. I don't think it's gonna show on Discord. I guess. I don't know. It shows on the stream. It might not show on Discord then.
On.
Yeah. Okay.
On.
Oh.
So I hit disconnect. Stop watching.
Okay. Let me know when you can see it.
You won't let me go right to your stream.
All power to the thrusters.
Oh, no, I'm just gonna go to Twitch.
Okay.
There we go. 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, you can see your stream now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So keep in mind, a lot of times when you're playing Zarya, especially if you're playing Sigma, actually, I would be a little more keen. Like this would be a little better. But when you're playing Zarya, you should really just kind of be like right here, even over on this cart, something where you're in a spot where you can put, like, because you're looking at my health, it's pretty low. That's partially my fault. But the idea is you want to be able to support your Ryan a lot. Sigma, however, you want to play off angles. Like this isn't really an off angle. They're just being weird. I don't know what they're playing, what they're doing.
Yeah. Once again, it's like you guys roll them in the front because there's no real presence, and then there's fucking 3 or like 2 or 3 of them onto the left, and they just exist.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, the enemy positioning is very strange, so it's hard to play around that when you're not used to it. But in general, a lot of times what I'm noticing is you're kind of tunnel visioning. It's like I'm fighting this one person. You're playing a lot of 1v1s versus keeping in mind, if you're standing over here. Okay, so there's a difference between this versus if you're standing here and fighting him. Because notice how if you stand at this spot, you're then supported by your Ana. You have my shield potentially too. So keep in mind where you're positioning. Because out here, you're alone. You have this health pack right here, but that's it. And you've got the Hog over here and the Genji over there. So keep in mind where your positioning is. You want to make sure that you're playing in a spot where you're supported by your team, especially as Zarya. If you're out of bubbles, you're kind of out of luck. So yeah, that's just the main thing there. Just make sure you're playing with a good respect for the enemy team and your positioning. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult when you need help. So. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, so see how you just kind of die as opposed to. I mean, this is kind of a lost fight, but it's weird. But yeah. in general, it's just better to play a safer positioning. This is kind of just lost there. And then again, obviously, I don't think I need to remark on you holding your grab. I think you used it this next fight anyway. Again, useless bubble. Nothing really going on.
Yeah, my thought was I heard the Hanzo, so I thought he was up there shooting at him, so I was like, oh, bubble.
Yeah, and that happens. That's why I'm not really remarking on it too much. But again, keep in mind your positioning. Like, again, where are you? You know, you've got the Genji there with you, but this is kind of Genji's domain. This is where he kind of is, and then he can get out if he needs to. You, on the other hand, cannot climb, you cannot dash, you only have a bubble, which you have now used. So you're kind of screwed. You got a Brig and a Hog on you, you're gonna die here pretty much. So again, playing with respect to your team is one of the biggest things I can stress about your playstyle from what I'm seeing. I mean, you know, he blades you, you're gonna die. But it happens. Alright, so then we got the shatter off. We're able to keep pushing. Charge is broken. Okay, and then you're coming back. Also, keep in mind, it's a very minor thing, but just keep in mind right-clicking and jumping propels you quite a bit faster. It's like a nitpicky thing, but it actually does help, so. Okay, so even right here, grabbing that back corner, like, I cannot stress, like, I know that it's so tempting to get that 6-man grab, but holy cow, grabbing like this spot right here would have gotten all 3 of them. And that's just an easy team cleanup, but especially with the Genji, whose right click is overpowered. Also, what is... You good there? Yeah, so, you know, just keeping in mind, grab doesn't have to get everybody. It can be good. You kind of die, whatever. GG, go next. Alright. It's gonna be you again.
Why is the payload stopped?
It's a bubble. It did something. I don't know why she was there, but... and then the other thing to consider is, you know, do I need to switch? You know, is my Zarya getting value? I can't see your average energy here, but just keep in mind, like, okay...
It was around like 40%.
Okay, yeah. And I would say, honestly, like, if you're getting 40% energy and, like, you're doing your best with your bubbles, and, like, this is a decent grab. I told you to grab pretty much, so it's like, okay. So again, here... I'll just kind of highlight, because this fight actually, if it had gone any other way, it would have been really bad. So keep in mind, you're nanoed, I don't know why, but you're nanoed, the Genji's ulting behind, and the first thing you did was, you kind of just turned and bubbled the first person you saw. And that can be really dangerous, because, again, look where the Genji actually is, and look where you bubbled. So let me see if, the idea is, was there a possibility that you could have... Okay. So you're nanoed here, 34 up charge. Kind of a waste. Especially with the Rhine being low. So right here, you hear it, you turn. Obviously you can't see him, but there's a half health Rhine there, and there's an Ana in the back. Those 2 targets are... The Genji can get away from the other Genji, but those 2 can't. So, you know, it's one of those split-second things that obviously, if you know, with practice will come, and it can be really difficult to master or get used to. But I think definitely keeping in mind, hey, there's an ulting Genji who's nanoed. I probably shouldn't nano our Genji, or sorry, bubble our Genji. You know, go like just have an idea of who you want, and see if I hadn't shattered him.
Meant to nano the Rhine?
Yeah.
Not nano. I think I meant to bubble Rhine, but I think I clicked too early.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just one of those things, you just gotta be patient. Like, you have time, you just have to give yourself that time. And that just comes, like, with reactions and stuff. But, like, you know, you're playing with the Rhine, this is good. You're pushing up a bit. I'm being stupid, trying to kill a Hanzo who decides to start flanking. Yeah, this is just kind of, you know... At this point, it's kind of a one fight. But yeah, I noticed that you. I'm not sure because I know you played like you've played a decent amount of Lucio. I'm not sure if it's because of that, but when you fight people, you're like right in front of them. Like with the Sigma, you kind of just go into him like that, and then with the Brig, you walk into her. So keep in mind, like you're spacing. You know, you don't have to be obviously you know this, but you don't have to be right on top of them. Like you can take. I mean, look at this. You're standing where the Rhine is. You can stand where this Bob is, and you know have the cover, not be in the way of a flail, any of that. So just keep in mind your positioning, your spacing. You've got room to fire. So. But yeah, I mean, you're doing a pretty good job. You just need to. I think it comes to experience, but just have ideas of like who to bubble. Like this, it's like okay, yeah, he's standing in the doorway. Why not? But obviously you're on the cart here because there's nobody there. You kind of have to. It sucks. So I won't.
Get some really good gameplay coming in.
I won't fault you for this. Yeah, Max is able to get Genji.
Pulling the new guy.
Yeah, always.
Rude.
And again, like in an ideal positioning, you'd be with me. Obviously, not the case. Sometimes it could be good. It can be good though. Just leave the cart because sometimes other people will notice it. Sometimes they don't. But just like enforce the fact that like you have to be very aggressive about it. Like I'm not gonna be on the cart. You know, do it through. That's a good bubble. I die though. But again, okay, this was probably the worst part that I noticed that Max kept calling out. So keep in mind, a Sigma just ulted behind and is all the way over here. Keep in mind, you're the off tank. So what SR am I? So I am diamond, mid diamond,
He's 17
high diamond.
SR.
17 SR. Mid diamond, high diamond, flex tank, low diamond, mid plat or so,
Slash feeder.
DPS / okay. Support. I don't play as much of that, but yeah, I definitely play a lot more off tank, and some A tank as well. So keep in mind, Moosin, you're Zarya, you're the off tank, so the off tank's role does include peeling. Zarya's not the best. She's probably one of the worst off tanks for peeling. Sigma's well, honestly, in my opinion, Diva's probably the highest, the best one for it. Sigma's a close second. Dude, you had Beyonce on your team? Actually, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. So again, audio cues, make sure you're able to hear when a Sigma is ulting behind you, because that is your responsibility to turn around and kill him, because he's right behind you, and you never saw him.
Else that you'll notice is because I'm used to playing with an off tank who does peel, you're not by yourself in that situation. I immediately go on it because I assume that you're going to be there, which, I mean, whether or not it's dumb or not, it's something that, like, I expect. So in that regard, when you go back, you're not by yourself. You're peeling not only for your team, but, like, you're peeling to secure a pick.
Yeah.
Secure pick and make space.
Yeah, so here, in that sense, you're making space.
Yeah, so let me just look at the positioning. So the Genji's peeling for the Ashe, which, you know, makes sense. It's reasonable. And it's understandable because, you know, I was too far up. I didn't expect a Sigma to flank and ult. But, you know, at this point, there's nothing for you to do here. The Bob slept. The Mercy's valking, so she's safe. So at this point, there's nothing for you up here. You need to turn around, especially because you should hear the Sigma. I don't know if did you hear the Sigma behind you?
I can't remember.
Okay, so, you know, at this point, it's like, usually there's calls. I know Max was calling it. I was dead, so I couldn't come back. But at this point, there's nothing for you here. There's no point in being up here. Just come back to your team. And that's a lot of the thing, a lot of times what you need to consider is your Reinhardt, if your Reinhardt's just dead, it's like, whatever, he's gone. Let me help the team. Anytime anybody's in the back line, the Rhine should be halting aggression. And this is one of the biggest things about our team. Like the Rhine halts aggression, the off tank peels. So I'm dead, therefore technically I halted aggression. There is no more aggression in their front line. So at this point you need to do your job and peel. So the Sigma, you know, he died, but the fact that you were literally right in front of him, that's no good. So now you can kind of push up a bit after you take care of the hog, help the unfortunately slept Genji. Only so much you can do, I will say. So this is good to back up. But I will say you're getting your grabs very slow. So I'll say something about that in a bit. I just want to see how this fight goes. Your bubble's good. And you did a good job telling me when you didn't have your bubble, so that's good. And then here, good bubble on me.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
they-
why I bubbled it,
Yeah, I was gonna point that out. Okay, so the grab was it was a good play. The grab was a good play. I'm glad you grabbed there. The thing you do have to keep in mind though is being able to predict a Genji and when he's going to dash. Because the problem that happened with the grab is you saw the Genji and you grabbed where he was and not where he was going to be. So for some reason he dashed Max. I don't know why he went straight for him instead of going to your backline. But a lot of times it's best to wait until the enemy Genji, especially when nanoed, until after they use their dash. They may or may not kill one of your teammates before you're able to get him, but it's better than him killing 3. So it was a good play though. I do like that you grabbed and went for him. It's a good sign. Unfortunately, you die here, but it happens. All right, so they push up a bit. You're back. You want to talk about that?
That was the one where I said, that's when I said, oh my god, why did I just bubble that?
Okay, I'm glad you know.
I think we're gonna have Greg have his input.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I was like, why did I just bubble that? Because that's when I was talking about stupid bubbles. That's literally what I was talking about. I have
Okay.
no clue why I bubbled that.
Okay, yeah. It's good that you recognize that at least after the fact and even like during it, just at that point. And I can understand where your thought process was. Like, oh, he took damage. Let me bubble him. But he's not gonna die. He's in the middle of the air. So. Oh. Hello. Hello, Greg. Alright.
What does Greg say?
So again, just to kind of point out,
Get in there.
so you saw, oh good lord, so you didn't see the hog because he was above, but I know for a fact that you saw the Junkrat because you looked at him. So this is good that at least you're keeping your eye on both spots. Okay, I'm fine with that bubble, and I'm chilling up front, just being asleep. But okay.
What's the rocket scam?
Hold up. After becoming a teacher in the 2020 question mark? Technically, actually that is my job. I do teach people. So this is kind of the same thing. Just not necessarily with Overwatch. Alright. I do want to point out here, you kind of just, I don't know what it was, but it looks like you just kind of went on autopilot. Because you're here, you see the Ana, but you're not shooting until here. Okay. Yeah. So it's looking like your reflexes are just a little slow. And
Oh
again,
yeah, moving to the right. By the way, like why I was doing so bad against this ball, because like moving to the right sucks for me. Like it's just so awkward.
okay.
Move my mouse to the right.
Yeah, I understand that definitely. It's definitely not a natural motion. That's a little harder. That's why a lot of players flick to their left. I actually flick to my right. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean here, the ball. But honestly, the ball's not. You've got 12 charge. You're not going to do anything to a Hammond who's spinning around, who has a shield. You're not going to do any damage. So a better target would be the Sigma or the Junkrat, who's on the point, who's still a threat, but somebody that you can actually take care of. If you have 100 charge, again, I would say you still no matter what in this situation, Junkrat. Sigma honestly is your first target, then the Junk, since Sigma's using his E. But yeah, you definitely don't want to focus a very fast-moving target like that, unless you're like Sigma and you have your Rock, or Diva and you can kind of like interrupt his flow. But as Zarya, nah, you wanna focus the higher target, the high value targets. But yeah, I mean overall, you did a pretty good job. Like I mean, there's not like much to say about your aim. Like it happens. Like your aim's pretty decent. I would just say, especially like your positioning, you just kind of want to keep an eye on that, and just, you know, with time you'll get better at learning kind of where you need to engage and when and how and all that. But yeah, you definitely did a good job for the first game that I've seen you play.